Hey, it's Sports Guys Iowa, and you're in the Peacock Corner. All Peacocks all the time. If you want to talk about something else, that's fine. We're just not doing that here. Warren Reyerson is in the driver's seat for this one. I've got John Gunderson in my ear, but he'll tell me if I'm doing something wrong. I'm joined by my esteemed podcast partner, dropper of Upper Iowa sports knowledge bombs since 1995, I'm given to understand. The Alpha Peacock himself, Mike Schrock. Say good afternoon, Mike.
Good afternoon, and I'm sure our viewers are thinking, I wish Mike's camera was the one that wasn't working. People have always told me I have a face for radio.
Perfect face for radio. That's what my mom used to say about me. Fabulous. Nice having you here. John, give us a hi-ho to let us know that you're there.
I'm here, gentlemen. Take it away. You got a big show planned. I'm really excited. A lot of news this week up in Fayette, right, isn't there?
There's always something going on. They play all the sports up in Fayette. So let's talk hoops first, Mike. Tough trip down to St. Louis last week. Both the men's and the women's team reached the field of 8 in their respective conference tournaments, both coming back to Fayette empty-handed. The women first falling 66-56 to the top seed Tritons of Missouri St. Louis on Thursday afternoon. And then later that night, the men dropped the opener 79-67 to the eventual tournament champion William Jewell in the 2-7 game. Disappointing outcomes. Mike, you had eyes on it. So did I. What were your observations around the day down there?
Well, let's start with on the ladies' side first. The thing is, they played the number 1 seed right out of the chute, and it was their home floor. So going into this, we knew that it was going to be an uphill battle the whole way. University of Missouri St. Louis, they also had the GLVC Player of the Year and Mara Reeder. The game started out really good. I thought Upper Iowa was clicking on all cylinders, but man, about that 5-minute mark in the first period, Upper Iowa went on a scoring drought. And we've seen this throughout the year with our ladies team. They kind of hit a little scoring drought, but this one lasted 9 minutes and 4 seconds. So it lasted not only the rest of the first period, but well into the second period. Fortunately for Upper Iowa, Umsel had a lot of free throw opportunities that they missed. So the score was still, at halftime, was still relatively like, hey, this is doable. But come out in the second half, and Umsel started doing what Umsel does. They went to their big Mara Reeder and executed very well. They're a very well-coached team, deserving of the victory. Upper Iowa made a hell of a push at the end of this game, played really well at the end, but again, the deficit was just too much to overcome, and Upper Iowa found themselves one and done in the GLVC tournament. But overall, just kind of my thoughts of the game, and then I'll kick it over to you, Warren, on what you thought. But Kendall Lodemeyer had a little bit of a coming out party in this game. She was tasked with not only guarding the Conference Player of the Year, but then having the Conference Player of the Year, who is an incredible defender, had 9 blocked shots in this game against Upper Iowa, set a tournament and GLVC record. But Kendall Lodemeyer exploded for 17 points against this Reeder gal. And if this wasn't an indication of what's really to come here in the future with Kendall Lodemeyer, I was really excited. I thought she played incredibly well. And then Ava Privet, Ellie Foster both added 12 points. Ellie Foster, unfortunately, our grad senior, took an injury that permitted her from coming back into the game late. I believe it was in the 3rd or 4th period. Without talking too much injury, this injury was bad enough that had it happened in the beginning of the season, she might have been out for the year.
Yeah, tough way to go out. What a fine career she had and a fine season in Fayette. I look at the stats after the game, and what jumped out at me the very most was 5 out of 23 from three-point range. If you make a couple more of those, it's interesting at the end. Peacocks, to your point, Mike, had no answer at all for Mara Reeder. 22 points, 10 rebounds, 9 swats. 1 swat short of a triple-double, kind of the hard way. And so that's 9 shots, didn't even make it to the rim. And it's tough to get past that, along with the 9-minute scoring drought, where there was probably a couple of Mara Reeder blocks right there. You had mentioned 17 for freshman Kendall Lodemeyer, giving us kind of a good taste of what lies ahead for her. A lot of freshmen are watching for the majority of the game. The ones that are on the floor, maybe more of a role player type of a role. Kendall, all season long, just got right in there, was big on both ends, and I think she gave us a pretty good indication of what next winter might look like in Fayette. Could be a little bit more the Kendall Lodemeyer show. and was very happy with her performance. And Ellie and Ava and all the rest, tough draw going 1 versus 8, having to take on Umsel. They would make it all the way to the conference final, but they gave it a good run. But that's the end of the season for the Peacocks. They finished 14 up and 15 down. What's your take on the men?
So the men had me a little confused watching this game. Our men played a great first half. Probably one too many turnovers in that first half, but nothing that really put the nail in our coffin. Matter of fact, I believe we were up 32-31 at halftime. And I'm thinking, okay, we're doing a great job. William Jewell, fantastic team. Again, well coached. They have a player on their team who I love to watch, and that's Justice Sutton. I don't know what his plans are after this year. I think he may try to go D1. I think he's that caliber of a player. But I felt like we were keeping him in check. We go into halftime and we came out physically, but I don't think we came out mentally. Warren, you and I had talked a little bit about the number of turnovers we had, 18 total in this game, which is so unlike Upper Iowa. Usually we're on the other side of that where we're forcing more turnovers. We just couldn't get it going. They did a nice job defensively on Kyle Herntzer and Trey Lewis, holding them. Trey had 13, Kyle had 12. Tate Peterson led all scorers with 16. But credit to Jewell for doing just a fantastic job on the defensive end. But offensively, Justice Sutton just could not be stopped. I believe he ended with 25. And just really, it was clear to me after that game that they were probably going to be in the championship game. And I thought I had a chance to win it, and it turns out they did. And that's kind of what I took from that. From what I've seen all year from Upper Iowa, this just wasn't an Upper Iowa type game, just based on turnovers and scoring.
There's a formula for winning basketball. At least an old basketball coach told me this, and I kind of committed it to memory. Make half your shots, make 40% of your threes, rebound 1 out of every 3 of your misses, and keep turnovers under 10. If you can do 2 of those things, you have a great chance to win. And the Peacocks didn't do any of those this last Thursday. A couple of threes early in the first half from Eric Canisi, and a couple more a little later from Tate Peterson from Monticello. Get some good first half momentum, had some juice going into the break, but then outscored in the paint 40-30. They clanked 11 out of 14 triples after halftime. It just didn't go right. And then Sutton reined in a couple really early in the second half, and then they were kind of off to the races. So it's a tough game, a tough way to go down there and long bus ride home without having won a game. But it was really, in retrospect, a fine season for a team having lost 5 of its 6 top scorers, and much to look forward to here in the seasons to come. Casey Kasperbauer's very first season, and he had to put it back together, and he did. They had a good season, ended up, 17 up and 11 down. Again, after you lose all those guys, that ain't bad.
Yeah, and really kind of put a bow on this season because we don't want to end it on 2 losses. Let's talk about the victories at the end of the season. So on the women's side, we had Ellie Foster was a first-team All-GLVC selection. Ava Privet was second-team All-GLVC. And then Kendall Lodemeyer made the All-Freshman team, which was not surprising to me. Ellie Foster was also part of the newcomer to the GLVC team. And then Stephanie Sink won the James Spalding Sportsmanship Award. So well-deserved honors for those ladies. And then on the men's side, I was a little disappointed, and just disappointed because I thought we had some players that maybe could have been mentioned a little better. But again, that goes to how tough the GLVC actually is. It's full of great players. Kyle Herntzer, of course, first team all conference for us. And he was it. Trey Lewis was our James Spalding Sportsmanship Award winner. Where I was a little disheartened was I thought Kale Reister really made a case for being on the all freshman team.
I did as well.
I went as far back as like pulling up everybody's stats that made the all freshman team. And there was there was a couple that he could have been swapped in or out for. I would have liked to have seen that for that guy. I thought that he deserved it. Again, a starter, just like Kendall Lodemeyer on the women's side. From day one, stepped in as an 18-year-old kid. Of course, his first game was an exhibition against UNI, who is now going to the NCAA March Madness tournament. And I thought he's done a fantastic job. I felt like he earned it. Of course, I'm a Peacock 100%. So, of course, I'm going to push for our guys. But congratulations to those guys who made it. But I felt Cale maybe got the short end of the stick there.
I think Cale and Jack Miller are both going to get a ton of love next year. I think you build the team around those two fellas because they were both really good at getting out there, mixing it up, putting up shots. I thought that the Peacocks always looked better when Jack would see a couple fall in right away at the outset of the game. Jack's from Jessup. I think he could play for Jason Hoskins on the football team. I think he's that tough. But I think he's full-time basketball guy. Plays a little bit of golf too, I'm given to understand it. Is that correct? So
Yep.
I don't know. So I'm kind of profiling what's next. The coaches will tell you that they coach the games for free, but I think the real work's about to begin for these guys. Not a whole lot of time to be sad. So there's plenty of work ahead for coaches Moss and Casper Bauer. Collecting written commitments from the high school kids, monitoring the transfer portal, trying to keep their kids out of it, establishing an inventory of needs for moving their respective programs forward. You're never done working that list. And it's the work that most people don't see. You work there, Mike, so you're not very far away from much of it. What am I missing? What do you see?
So I will tell you what you're missing right now, Warren, since you live in that state up north, is right now we've got the Iowa High School boys basketball tournament going on, and we've got a signee, a kid that's committed to play for Upper Iowa next year, who went ahead and dropped 34 points in his first round game. He plays for ADM, and it's a kid by the name of Hudson Lawrenson. And I'm wondering, Warren, up there in Minnesota, what have you heard about this kid?
Well, not much, but I've got my friend the internet where I have been able to go in there and have a little look at him. And everything that I've seen, I've liked. There's always room on the roster for one more guy who can shoot. So here comes another one. He's 6'1". He's a senior for the Tigers of Abel DeSoto Midburn. They compete in Class 3A, and they're in the state tournament right now. He averages 22 points a game, shoots 46% from three-point range. And I think he has like 71 three-pointers already on the season. This past January, he broke the career scoring mark for that school. And to your point, a moment ago, he dropped 34 on Cedar Rapids Xavier on Monday. They get Storm Lake next. I think that game's going to tip in about an hour or so. The kid grew up in a gym. His father, Todd, is the head coach at Graceland University down in Lamoni. He declared for Upper Iowa back in November. And I think he intends to study business finance with a grade point average of 3.97 here in high school. Obviously has a noodle for finance. But like I said, everything that I've seen and read about him, beautiful left-handed shot. Everything I've seen, I like. I think he's going to be a great fit in Fayette.
Hey, well, I'm going to add one thing, guys. I got a chance to watch this whole game this week. Xavier had a lot of size. He really can get in the middle of the lane. He's crafty. He was able to handle the size, even though being a guard. He got a lot of his points inside. And he's coming from a great basketball family. His dad is the head coach, Graceland. His grandfather is actually getting inducted in the Iowa High School Hall of Fame as a coach of PCM this weekend. So he's up there putting 34 up in front of his dad, who's taking Graceland to the NAIA
they had a good season
tournament this year. And he put 34 up against Xavier, who's a team with size. He's playing Storm Lake in a big game. I think they're going to give him everything that they can. And I think he's going to be an immediate player next year, in my opinion, at Fayette.
Yeah, what I see from Hudson and watching him, he's just a kid that fits the system that Casey Casperbauer runs. I'm talking about a kid that's got a nice stroke and shoots the three very well. I went ahead. He's 188 of 434 for 43% for his career at EM. And that's just phenomenal. And by me saying that, he only appeared in 7 games as a freshman. So with 1,620 career points as it stands right now, imagine if he would have been a kid that could have played right away as a freshman at ADM and how many more points he probably would have scored. But a cool little thing that I read on Hudson that I really like, and when I look at players, I want them to be good, not only physically on the floor, but I like sometimes to really dig into their mentality. And Hudson wrote that when he was a freshman, he wrote on a piece of paper that one of his goals was to be the all-time leading scorer at ADM, and he accomplished that. And I like kids that are goal-driven like that. This is the kid that I could see coming to Upper Iowa and saying, I want to win the conference. I want to win the GLVC. And not only just writing that down, but then, the kid's upbringing. He's a gym rat. He's going to do what it takes to help Upper Iowa win a GLVC conference tournament. So I'm really excited about this kid being a Peacock and calling Fayette home for the next 4 years.
Son of a coach, real good in the classroom. Those are two attributes that often translate to some good basketball skill and some good basketball outcomes. So I think good things lie ahead for the program writ large. For this young man in particular, I think he made a good choice in Fayette. Maybe a little wrestling news. I think we got a national qualifier this year. Mike, what can you share out about that?
Yeah, so Ethan Doty, a graduate senior out of Mount Carroll, Illinois, our 149-pounder, placed second in what I believe, and most people in the country believe, is the toughest regional in Division II. We go up north and we wrestle the Augustanas and everybody in the NSIC. We're still part of that region. He was our only qualifier this year. He's 23-6. He got second in those regionals, like I said. Brackets have come out, and Ethan's first match is a pigtail match that he has to wrestle against Skylar Caban, I think is how you say his last name, from Belmont Abbey. And looking at the brackets, he's going to need to win because of that pigtail match. He's going to need to win 3 matches right away to reach that All-American status. So he's got a little bit of work to do ahead of him. But Ethan Doty, another great character kid, hard worker. And I just found this out today. His career record at Upper Iowa is 100 wins and 45 losses. And that includes his redshirt freshman year, which he wrestled unattached. He was 16-2 in that year. He's been a real solid staple, a hammer, if you will, for our wrestling program. And again, anytime you go to nationals, it's a heck of an accomplishment. I know Ethan's not satisfied with that. He would like to wrestle on Saturday night and try to become an All-American. So we wish him the best of luck as he gets ready to do that. I think he's leaving here probably in the next couple days. But yeah, South Dakota, we'll have our eyes on it, and hopefully we have an All-American the next time we talk.
I believe Ethan Doty is the 107th wrestler who wrestled for Heath Grimm to reach national qualification. I was just taking a little bit of inventory of Heath's time at Fayette, 25 seasons altogether. This is 26th season in Fayette, so that spans the entire D2 era. I don't think there's a coach that in Fayette that has coached any sport at all other than Doc Dorman himself, who's been around longer than Heath Grimm. A lot of great years for him, 61 All-Americans in his 25 years there, 8 individual national champions, 131 academic All-Americans. So a steady hum of awesome coming out of Heath Grimm from Osage, Iowa. Speaking of some good high school wrestling, by the way. That's just awesome, and congratulations to Ethan Doty. We got a little bit of football news to share out. Matt Vargas is on his way to Vermillion, South Dakota. What do you know about that, Mike?
Well, I know that we're all a little sad. Matt Vargas, I personally got to know him and just thought the world of him. What he has done specifically with our football program has been incredible. He came in, he's a big accountability guy. But the guys buy into his way of training and getting better. And when he got that buy-in, that's when we started to see the needle move, specifically for football. Our kids were getting stronger, just the things that he does. And he's there at every game. He traveled with men's and women's basketball this year, and then he's at every home event. He sits on the benches for both teams. He's on the sidelines for football. He's the guy that usually has to hold Hoskins back from running out on the field, which I'm sure is a tough job within itself. You look at a guy like Vargas and you're like, man, I wish we could keep this guy forever. But you know that you're not going to be able to because he's so good at what he does that he's going to get opportunities at bigger schools. And that really was the case here. When I went to say my goodbye to him, he was very emotional about it. because he loved the place, and he did a lot of work here. And at the end of the day, you can't stymie yourself from growth in your own profession. And this was definitely a growing step for Matt Vargas. He's always going to be a Peacock. He made that very clear, and he's going to be keeping tabs on us. And likewise, we're going to be keeping tabs on him. We wish him the very best. We're sorry to see him leave, but nothing but love for Matt Vargas.
The key word is growth, Mike, around that. If you track Matt's career, Chadron State and then down to Fayetteville, Arkansas, before coming to Fayette for his work. He knows what he wants to do. He's really good at it, and he wants to grow his career doing that. So it's kind of baked into the cake of college sports in general, where you want to grow your career. You have a career path where you move to another school, same job at a bigger school, or maybe you take a little bit less responsibility at a much bigger school. There's different ways to do that, but nobody stays around for decades on end. You move around, you stick and move, and that's how you grow your career. I know that Matt's going to be keeping an eye on the Peacocks. I know everybody wishes him well as well. So congratulations on 3 great years to Matt Vargas, and good luck in Vermillion, South Dakota. We also learned that Dakota Gates Bridges, who had spent a couple of years here at Fayette working in the offense as a wide receiver, kind of a slot guy, entered into the transfer portal for his final year of eligibility. What do you know about that, Mike?
Man, I tell you what, Warren, I've been trying to find the answer to this, and I really haven't been given any other indication other than the fact that he's going to be a grad transfer, maybe looking to get a little closer to home, maybe looking to play with a different team, because, again, his quarterback, Darrell Overstreet Jr., is moving on and graduating, and a lot of his teammates that he's used to taking the field with. There isn't any bad blood there. Coda is very thankful for his years here at Upper Iowa, coming to us from, I believe he went to Northern Arizona originally. And this he's a gamer. He wanted to get on the field. And his dad, Jackie Bridges, being a Hall of Famer, a wide receiver here, Coach Hoskins reached out, and we got Coda to come up here. And he's one piece of many pieces that helped elevate this football program. I think when he was looking at his career and having one more year and wanting to play and maybe elevate his play, I think maybe he thought that maybe there's a different opportunity out there for him. But the good thing is he's a Peacock. He's going to graduate with an Upper Iowa degree. So we're really happy about that. He's going to go on and pursue higher education with a graduate degree somewhere else. I also think that Coach Hoskins is really good about this, and this is just me speaking off the cuff, but if Coda can't find that good fit, I think the door's open for him to come back. I don't think Coach Hoskins would, no, you're in the portal, you're gone. I think Coda would be welcomed with open arms again back to this squad. So I don't know if he's fishing for a D1 look or what the case is there. It's kind of been a mystery. I was a little surprised by it, but not really. So what I got on that, Warren?
Yeah, my spidey sense on Coda is that, maybe he's trying to get a little bit closer to home. My spidey sense on Coach Hoskins is if the portal doesn't offer up anything that is real attractive to Coda, that he could potentially wind up back in Fayette. But the window for an athlete is very short. The rule structure, of course, allows the free movement from one school to the next. This is just kind of what happens. That's how we got Monte Morrow a few years ago. We all know how that ended. Got a chance to meet Coda's folks after a game last fall. They were awesome. They live down in suburban Dallas, so maybe Coda gets a little bit closer to that. Who knows? But of course, we wish Coda well, and we're grateful for his years at Fayette. Do you have any other news to share out, Mr. Schrock?
Well, I think one thing that I think we'll probably cover a little more in the future here, but something I wanted to mention is Upper Iowa started women's wrestling 3 years ago, and it didn't take off really the first few years. New coach this year, Jay Tiedemann, he has come in and he's done a fantastic job. We had 8 girls on the roster this year and really finally had our first home meet. It was actually a triangular. We wrestled Luther and Grandview, and it was exciting, a lot of excitement around that. But what I'm about to tell you is a complete 180, is that we're going to have 4 returners next year from this team. So we're losing 4 girls off our current roster. But we're signing a class that's going to be anywhere between 25 and 30 girls in the room next year. And these aren't just girls that we're plunking off the street. These are hammers in the state of Iowa and surrounding areas. I can't believe the number of kids and the quality of these kids that are committing to wrestle at Upper Iowa for the women's team. And I am so excited about it because I've seen these names come through and watching them at the Iowa State Wrestling Tournament. And I'm like, these are going to be our hammers, and really excited about the direction of that program and the way that our facilities here have kind of come together for them. And so I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Coach Jay Tiedemann and assistant volunteer coach Athena Hansen for the incredible work that they've done over this last year, not only with the current team, but with the recruiting. And women's wrestling is going to be a lot of fun next year. You're not going to want to miss it.
Imagine we might host a duel or two, or maybe some sort of invitational in Fayette, anything like that on the radar?
Yeah, after getting that first one hosted this year, the plan is next year to have more of those, right? As women's wrestling becomes more popular and we as a university get a little more acquainted with what we're doing with women's wrestling, and now having a full roster, we should be able to host more of those things. One of the great things about women's wrestling this year is they had their first NCAA national championships, which was won by GLVC team McKendree. And that's exciting for us because in talking with our coaches, the level of women's wrestling in the GLVC is at a national level. And so the girls that come to Upper Iowa are going to wrestle national qualifying talent. And our wrestling coaches feel like they're bringing in talent that maybe here down the road, we'll be able to have some national qualifiers of our own. That's really exciting.
I don't mind the sound of that at all. Girls wrestling, it was introduced at the high school level, started to ramp up. Looks like it's starting to take off like a hockey stick in Fayette. And another good reason to go pack Dorman Gym and raise a little bit of hell in there in front of a wrestling meet. It doesn't matter if it's the men wrestling or the women.
And on the subject of recruiting, I can't believe I didn't mention this earlier, but one of our women's basketball signees, Cora Waddell from Makokata, just took her team to the state championship and won it in 3A. And she was the outstanding player of the game. And I'm excited for this kid. Lefty, beautiful stroke. Just a great, what I really liked about her is she's a team player. Will step in and do whatever her team needs her to do, but just really excited about her coming along. And again, congratulations to Cora and Makokata for a great season this year, but really excited about her next year here in Fayette.
There's always room in Fayette for one more champion. So welcome to Cora. We can't wait to see her in the gym next fall.
Yeah.
Awesome. John, I think that we're reaching the end. I think I'm at the bottom of my list. Mike's at the bottom of his list. I think we're probably about ready to sign this thing off.
Hey guys, great show. You covered a lot of basketball, got on some wrestling, got on some football news. Can't wait to hear what we're going to talk about in the next week or so on the next Peacock Corner. Hey, really appreciate everybody listening. The show's taken off. Thanks to Warren and Mike for leading it. I'm sure at some point you'll probably start interviewing some coaches from time to time on the show. And really appreciate you following along at Sports Guys Iowa. So, gentlemen, thank you.
It'd probably be more interesting than Mike and I just interviewing each other.
Yeah, and me coming in from time to time. I agree. Hey, guys, really great show. Appreciate it. You guys have a great week.
Thank you.